not guilty. That's the verdict in the federal trial of Mark Houck. The pro-life advocate says he's overjoyed, blessed, and grateful. He's also eager to return to sidewalk counseling.
Well, his attorneys say the verdict is not only a win for Houck, but also for the whole pro-life movement. Matt Gelka has the story.
Thank you, Lord. We know where two or more are gathered in your name. You are there in our midst. Your spirit is here.
Mark Houck and his family prayed outside of a Philadelphia federal courthouse. Moments earlier, a jury found Houck not guilty of federal assault charges.
Oh, man. It's a relief, overjoyed, blessed. I'm just so grateful.
The pro-life activist was involved in an altercation outside of a Planned Parenthood clinic in 2021. The FBI carried out an early morning raid on his home and arrested him in front of his family nearly a year later. The Department of Justice tried to make the case that the shoving incident between Houck and a volunteer escort in front of an abortion clinic was a violation of the Freedom of Access to Clinic Entrances, or FACE Act. The jury disagreed.
This matter is one that never should have gotten the attention of the Department of Justice. Our hope here is that a message was sent to Washington, D.C. to stop this harassment of sidewalk counselors who are just trying to provide alternatives to those who are facing an abortion decision. And I hope, again, this will be one of those points where a change is made.
The trial focused on the alleged assault between Houck and the volunteer, which Houck said happened after his son was verbally abused. His attorney said it was also about freedom of speech.
This was about the First Amendment in that Mark and every sidewalk counselor in this country has an equal right to be there on that sidewalk and offer assistance, offer alternatives to folks who otherwise may be considering abortion.
With the trial now over, Houck says he'll return to sidewalk counseling once again.
Sign me up. I'm ready to go back out. Pray.
10 o'clock next morning.
Pray. Put me down for 10 o'clock. Pray. I'll be wherever you need me. And yeah, just happy to continue the mission. You know, the mission goes on.
The jury was briefly deadlocked since Friday until an alternate juror was brought in on Monday and a final decision was reached. Houck's attorneys say Houck is ready to testify in front of Congress about the ordeal, and they hope to get an invitation soon. Matt Gelka, CBN News.
Well, I know a Colorado baker who has been repeatedly harassed and repeatedly brought up into courts at the state court level, and it took it all the way to the Supreme Court. The Supreme Court said, this is a freedom of speech case. This is artistic expression. You can't require someone to make an art form, cakes can be art forms, and violate their conscience. It's against the Constitution. And he's been repeatedly harassed, repeated complaints against him. Any other person would get out of the baking business. And I think that was the goal, to drive it out of the public square and to say, no, Christians can't bake cakes unless they're going to bake cakes for everybody, and gay weddings and trans celebrations and all the things that they brought against him. So when Mark goes back on the sidewalk, I'm pretty sure there's going to be a targeting, and how can they have a provocation, and how can they have another incident? That's what happens. The left just doesn't seem to want to give up. They keep going at it and going at it and going at it. What happened here is you had a full SWAT team deployed with multiple vehicles and automatic weapons that were out and visible in front of his own home, his own children, in a pre-dawn arrest. Why in the world would you do that? He's represented by counsel. Counsel said, we'll voluntarily surrender him. But no, they've got to make a public show. That's what they're doing. These are intimidating tactics designed to quelch speech. I've seen it in authoritarian governments where you have this oversized reaction. The government comes in, full police force. They threaten the person. They threaten everyone surrounding the person. And it's all designed to intimidate. Now, we as Christians, what are we to do? Well, the same thing that the apostle said to the Sanhedrin. We have to obey God. And in that, we find our way. I just encourage everyone as we do that, please let us do it in love.